we're lucky. We've been blessed with life. Planet Earth has been blessed with the
so
exact.
To sustain our life, we need air,
yes,
oxygen,
we do.
Yeah, and food,
but why do we need a God?
Why do?
Yes, but that's your.
The problem is, if you jump towards the conclusion, the moment you discuss with a theist or a Muslim, what you're doing is trying to tick box. Oh, what argument are they going to use? Cosmological, Kalam argument, contingency argument, teleological argument.
But that's inherently what it is, though, isn't it?
That's what you're doing. But try to understand the argument that is presented.
I understand the
rather
argument.
than labeling it.
Trust me, I do understand the argument.
So
this is my response. This is my review.
You believe to make it into forget about morality.
Yeah.
You believe the universe always existed.
Sorry. Yeah.
Give me. I'm going now. Do you
go?
Do you want to go?
No, I'll be there soon.
Okay, all right.
Finish this off. Yeah.
So do you believe the universe always existed?
Yeah. I mean, my granddad's a nuclear physicist. He tells me about
always
the founding.
Existed, right?
Yes.
Meaning
the Big Bang has happened many times, my friend.
Without any beginning, right? Always there.
We're going. It doesn't matter. We're going through a circle. And inherently, this is my point. That why do we need a God?
Why do you bring the God question in?
This is it. This is where we're going with. No.
Because if you don't understand the very basic foundations, then you will make an error in understanding what God is.
No. Because I'm telling you.
Look, I am not talking about God. I'm talking about the universe.
Okay, the universe. Okay. So my perspective. Yeah, fair.
So can an atheist? Are you an atheist?
Yeah.
Can an atheist stop talking about God?
Stop what?
Can an atheist stop talking about God?
Stop talking about God.
Yeah.
Good.
So let's talk about the universe.
Yeah.
This universe, in your understanding, is always there.
Yeah. Okay. It's been going and it's going to be...
Fine. So, you are not of the position that the universe at one point was absolutely nothing and then something came, because you don't believe that there was nothingness to begin with, right?
Yeah. We expanded into matter that was already there.
Yeah.
The Big Bang Big Bang is expanded into matter
that was always there.
Yeah.
Let's understand that something.
Okay.
This something did not begin to exist, did not acquire any properties of existence. So whatever it had it inherently.
Okay. Yes.
So what are the essential qualities of that something, which is the universe, had inherently as qualities and attributes?
But it had matter. It had carbon. It had. What do we find in our universe today?
Matter always existed.
Matter, yes, it's existed in the form, in a matter,
No.
in a way.
You're talking about matter by looking at this universe.
Yes. And the universes before that preceded our one.
You're assuming matter existed.
Well, you're assuming many things, my friend. So that's of course matter. This is my position.
You have to say, I assume matter existed.
Okay, I assume.
I'm fine.
Fine.
So what are the essential things or qualities this universe had inherently?
Well, what does it have now? Carbon. What does it have? What like if you went into the universe and you took a hypothetical sample from said universe, from where you were in the universe, you would understand what it was at the beginning. And now actually, 6 months ago, the James Webb Telescope, we're discovering a lot more about how the universe began.
Did it have internal organization?
Internal. That has no relevance.
Inherent organization.
Okay, it could have done.
Did it have laws operating within itself?
We don't know. But the thing is, the issue of that is that where do we understand those laws to be in the human mind? We perceive those laws.
You are postulating a universe that always there.
Yeah.
So this universe which is always there without a beginning of existence.
No, I mean.
So whatever it has inherently.
Yes, it has inherently. Yes.
So.
Not given. You see, that's you making an assumption.
No, I'm saying it's a given fact.
Yes.
It already had it.
Yes.
Because
but my point before to Ali Dawah is that there's no need. We're
not talking about Ali Dawah.
Yes. No. I know.
About God, about this universe.
Yes. I know about this universe, but the idea that
inherent properties that existed.
Yeah.
Was self-awareness one of them? Why do you think so?
Because why should it?
No, I'm asking you. Why do you think otherwise?
Because self-awareness is a human idea. Yes, self-awareness.
If you're not a human, are you saying some other things cannot be self-aware?
Animals, beings are self-aware.
So it's not
the universe consists of beings.
Don't make it into a human thing. It's not a
okay, but the universe consists of beings. It consists of. We don't know what it consists of. Actually, that's my point. We don't know.
I want to ask you.
Yeah.
The transformation that happened from one point to another point.
Yeah.
Did it happen by accident or by choice?
Accident.
Why do you say
choice?
Accident?
Yeah, but why choice?
No, I'm asking
why do you say choice? I'm asking you now.
Did I ask you? Did I say anything?
But you're assuming that there is choice.
No, I didn't say anything.
Yes, I know you didn't say anything.
I didn't say anything.
But the way you're arguing.
Don't strawman out my argument. I didn't say anything.
Yes, I know.
So I asked you. You said it's by accident. I want to know. Based on what you say it's an accident?
Based on the fact that it was based on a deductive argument, on that it wasn't your other thing that you proposed.
I haven't proposed anything.
Choice. You said, is it based on choice or is it based on this?
No.
So inherently, what you're assuming when you're making that argument is that it is based on choice, and I'm saying it's not choice.
Don't just try to make the position, the argument to be like, what's it called? Shifting the onus of evidence to me, someone else.
But that's what you did.
I'm asking you, on what grounds, on what rational grounds, do you say it's accidents?
I say that it's because it couldn't have happened out of choice. It couldn't have happened.
That's not an argument.
Yes, so I'm telling you. Listen.
You're just simply saying the other option. I don't.
You cut me off
with.
at the beginning.
Go ahead, tell me.
Yeah.
Rational argument.
Rational argument is that the universe, the way we do it, it's clearly like it's too intricate. It's too. We don't know enough for us to be able to ascertain. Intricate, complicated. It's expanding. We probably know 0.5%.
By random?
By random.
Determination?
No, by random. Because how does the universe expand?
That's
Why?
random.
Okay.
It's not random.
Let me ask you a question. Why does the universe expand?
Because it's already within the laws operating within the current universe.
What laws?
Physical laws, natural laws.
Where do those laws come from?
Wait,
Who discerned those laws?
Stop. Alexis or Alexei? Alexei. You said random, and I say it's not random because we have constants within our physical laws.
Yeah.
So that's not randomness.
Yes.
I'm sure you know what randomness is, right?
Yes.
Right.
I do.
Right.
I say random. What I mean by random is that its creation wasn't brought about by anything. It wasn't brought about by any one thing. Yes, but randomness, it comes out of.
You're redefining terms.
Yes, but this is how I perceive it within
our.
our.
Your perception. We're speaking the human language, which happens to be English.
Yes.
We need to be
we need to.
consistent with the meaning of the terms.
I agree.
That
I agree. That's an important thing.
So it is not random.
Yeah.
The universe is operating with set specific laws that is operational within it. So let's go back again. What is your rational basis to say things transformed from an eternal universe by accident?
By accident, in the sense that it's not something that it couldn't have been designed. It couldn't have been pre-made. That is it. Because what is the opposite of an accident?
What's the opposite of that?
Yes, but that's what you're driving me down. You're driving me.
What is your rational basis for it?
My rational basis is that it's the opposite of choice. What is your rational basis? No.
Don't deflect the onus.
Yes, I know.
I'm telling you. Me, right? This is a fallacy you're making. So you are in the defense as an atheist to substantiate your particular belief, which is it happened by accident.
Yeah,
so we'd like to know
random.
Accident, I said, or choice, and you said accident.
Yes, because it's not choice. Because you diverted me into this angle.
I gave you two options.
Yes, two options only.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there other options?
Yes.
What other options?
The other option is that it just occurred. It occurred.
When you say it just occurred,
it
what
occurred,
does it mean?
but not by accident.
No,
it occurred.
When you say it just occurs, what does it even mean?
Yeah, it occurred for reasons that we don't know.
Reasons.
Okay.
So if it happens by a reason, it's not an accident, is it?
Yes. Okay. I understand.
Good.
I understand.
So it either happens by a reason or it just happens.
It just
so
happens.
Now, if you say it just happens,
it just happens. Why do we need to ascribe? Why do we need to ascribe reason?
By reason?
Yes, but why do we need to ascribe reason?
Wait.
Why do we ascribe reason?
You're on the right track now. Reason. So
why do we ascribe it? Why don't you ask? Oh, you don't answer my question.
Alexis, when you say it's happened by reason, is that reason embedded within that universe?
I can't answer that question because that's a question that we don't know.
Ask that question.
Yes,
because
that's a question you don't know either. By the way, like, how do you know that?
See,
it's a question.
Few minutes of discussion.
My point is,
you are committing so much fallacies that you don't know. You tell me what the answer is. No, I am not discussing my position.
No, I know.
You're
asking
yours.
me. Yes, but my basis, my reason why I'm not, where I began. You've driven me down this lane. I didn't begin
I'm
here.
not driven it. I've cornered you into that position
You've
to defend
cornered me. Yes, exactly.
Yes,
but this
I'm
is not
using the right term.
But this
cornered
is
you in a position
yes.
to defend yourself.
But this is not where
this is the new paradigm shift. By the way, the atheist needs to be aware of that. If you're listening and watching, atheists, we are coming to get you. This is the paradigm shift.
Yes, but you've driven me down this way because my basis of what religion is, of why it needs to exist. What I was saying earlier about morality, about a moral necessity. Humans need a necessary. I don't necessarily listen.
Forget morality.
No, listen.
You are now conflating issues.
No. Listen. You've driven me down this. You said accident or choice. Yeah. Accident or choice. I don't believe it to be neither. I don't believe it to be a choice. but I don't necessarily believe it to be an accident. But that doesn't mean...
Basis of your belief.
Yes, my basis of my belief is I don't know.
That's not
It's Socratic.
basis.
It's a Socratic. Yes, it's a very
ignorance.
accurate.
No, that's simply your ignorance. Just because you don't know who.
It's not.
I don't know who murdered it. It means no one murdered it.
No.
Your ignorance is not going to help you. So now let me reframe the question. Could it be otherwise? The way it's transformed.
I don't think so.
So it's determined.
No, it's not determined. But I don't think so because it's happened.
Make up your mind.
Okay.
Could it be otherwise, or could it not be otherwise?
Okay. It could be any way possible.
Yes. So
it
the
could
way
be any
it became
way possible.
Why that particular way?
Why? Science. Science, my friend. It's a discussion, a different
I don't understand what you're talking
discussion.
about.
Why it came out, why the universe came out to be a certain way,
why that
is purely a
particular
scientific
way?
question.
No.
It's purely a
Whatever
scientific
question it is, you want to frame it, it's a philosophical question or a moral question or a scientific question.
It used to
I'm
be a
asking you,
philosophical question.
why that way and not the other way?
Why specifically? Because this is what I'm telling you. Like Socrates, when he spoke to the Africans 2,000 years ago, I ascertain to a certain viewpoint because I don't know the reason exactly. I don't know why.
When you go to a question and it says, these are the questions, question 1 to 10.
No, but this is very different, my friend.
Wait a moment. I'm going to try to put you right on your right shoes, or right box, in the right spot. If you answer a question, I don't know, do you get a mark?
No.
Okay, but
wrong answer.
Okay.
Thank you.
When you put questions like open-ended questions like yours, do you think on the multiple choice exam that you've now imagined, do you think there'll only be 2 ticks? Choice or accident? Do you think? What if there's another box? What if there's another box?
Tell me which the other box is.
The other box is the other box. We don't need an understanding.
Now
we don't need it.
Another problem here.
No, we don't need it. It's not important.
If you have
it's
no
not important.
idea about something, you can't present it as an argument.
Exactly.
You shouldn't be talking about it.
No, my friend. This is what I'm telling you. Is that we don't need to know.
Look.
We don't need this.
If you believe in a certain scientific paradigm or a philosophical paradigm,
yes.
you should know that if you cannot talk about something in any meaningful way, you should be talking about it at all. Because this is an escape route saying, I don't know what it is, but there is an option.
Exactly.
Yes, but what I'm saying to you is that your beliefs are that
I haven't talked about my beliefs.
I know.
I am grilling an atheist about their beliefs and see how they can defend them.
No, all I'm saying is where your views come from.
I have not expressed my views. This is your
Okay, but
views.
you're not
So Alexis, let me ask you again. So this universe that existed,
Yes.
it's now transforming into something else because things that are happening, we see transformation.
Yeah. It's growing.
Transformation happens, which is either it happens because a predetermined will makes it to happen. To give you a scenario.
Okay, no, this is good. This is good. I'm hearing your views.
Let me give you a scenario. If I don't will to make coffee or tea in my kitchen, I sit there. All the ingredients of tea and coffee are there in my kitchen. There is the fridge inside which is the milk. I have to open to get it out.
Yeah.
There is the sink. I have to unwind the tap to let the water come into the kettle. Put the kettle into the cooker. I have to light the cooker to make fire, flame, heat. Then I have to bring the cups. Then I bring the tea and the coffee. Then I have to mix with milk and sugar, right? If I don't make a choice, if I don't intend, if I don't make a will for this tea to happen, the coffee to be made, would it ever happen?
All I'm saying, this is my point exactly. You're equating human logic, human understandings of how the world works, and you're imposing that on the universe.
I'm not imposing anything.
No, but that's what you're saying.
We are studying the universe because we are human, and we can only use human logic. There's nothing wrong with it.
No. This is my point.
Wrong with it, there should be no science.
This is my point. There's no
science. There should be crumbling
human logic.
foundation.
But human logic.
Science, in fact, sorry to interrupt. Science has demonstrated that using human logic, we can understand the universe.
No. This is the problem. What Ali was saying earlier. His logic, his contingency argument.
What's that on your? What is this? It's a mic.
Yes. Wait, let me finish.
Wait. This is a mic.
Yeah.
How did we make that mic? And operation.
We produced it within the country, or produced it wherever.
Did we use human logic to understand what is
this is different.
Wave,
Yes.
What is audio?
There are two different forms of logic that I want to. What the logic we were speaking about? Of course, human logic. Of course, that's very valid. The logic that Ali Dawah was. Yes. But you're also doing. My
What am I doing?
Is that logic automatically you're assuming that how our world functions, the idea of a will, the idea of contingency, the idea that have been constructed within our world and that we understand. You're inherently imposing that upon something else.
No.
Yes,
No.
because that's your assumption.
I'm using
yes.
human logic to understand the reality around me.
Yes.
So when I use human logic, I do understand, and that's why now we can go up to space and put satellites in there.
Okay.
Because human logic does work.
Okay, but
understanding the
let me give you an example. If I jump up, I'm going to jump back down again.
Yeah.
That's because of gravity, right?
Really?
Yeah.
No. It's
No.
because of green flying monsters.
No. Okay. I'm just saying. This is my point.
No. I'm telling you, it's because of invisible green flying monsters.
Okay. Because of science.
No. I'm going to stop you there. I apologize for stopping you there.
No, let me finish my argument. Let me finish
I cannot let you finish. You say gravity. What is gravity? Can you see it? Can you feel it? Can you touch it? Can you smell it? Can you sense it?
What, so you reject gravity?
Wait. Now I'm going to ask you and challenge you with this question. You say it's gravity. Out of your 5 senses, which one did you use to say it's gravity?
Like, I'm saying this is not. Let me tell you my point.
This is a blind
Let me
faith.
tell you my point. No. But let me tell you my point. I've not finished. Listen, okay, this is my point about your use of logic and applying it to the universe, right? The point is, if I jump up, I'm going to come down. It doesn't matter where gravity comes from. That's not my point.
So where came from?
No.
What you're
Okay.
describing to is my question. Because if you could understand that example, you would understand that there is a God behind this universe.
No, listen. This is my point.
Okay.
When I jump up, I go down. When I go to space and I jump, I don't go down. I float. Because there are different forces working in the universe.
Forces?
Yes, listen. There are different.
Have you seen it?
There's different science in the universe than there is on Earth. And this is exactly the point I've always been making, is that you can't employ logic, religious logic on
Religious
Earth.
logic?
No, just logic in general. Logic to understand the universe that's inherently grounded in the human experience.
What is science based on?
Science.
What are the foundations of science?
Science is based on our world. Science is our world. It's
What
a
are
way
the
of...
the science operates within a paradigm.
Yes.
What are those foundational axioms of science that we can understand the world? Because science is what? The knowledge about the world. Science is a mechanism to understand the world, the reality.
My point is,
right? What are
yeah.
the foundational axioms of science?
You tell me.
No.
Tell me. Please enlighten
You
me.
are saying science
No,
and
but,
logic.
but listen,
I am not going to spoon feed
okay,
you.
no, listen, I'm just trying to make a point to you. I'm trying to make a point to you.
No,
Okay, but
you're
listen,
not.
but listen.
What is science
when I
based
go,
on?
okay, but stop, like, I'm trying to tell you something. When I'm in space and I jump, I don't fall back down, do I?
Observation.
Yeah.
So you observe.
Yes.
So are you saying
okay,
science,
wait.
Wait.
So how can you sit here and assert that the universe operates in a certain way when all of your understanding, physical understanding of the universe, is grounded within the human experience? All of this logic, all of this idea about pens and stuff.
Science, my friend, Alexis, if you didn't know, is based on this. You observe something specific.
Scientific method are you also asking me about?
Of course.
Okay, then what?
Do you believe in the scientific method?
Yes, of course. I
Right.
thought you were talking
So have you observed this kind of jumping about in every point of this earth and this universe?
What? So, okay, I'm saying on Earth right now. You
Have
jump
you
up.
observed on every point of the earth?
I make an assumption based on a lot of experience and a lot of understanding of how the world
Have
works.
you observed on every single
Yes.
point of the earth?
I mean, I've observed
on every
enough.
single point of the earth.
Okay, so you're telling me there's a part of Earth where I jump up and I go up. Yeah? I don't
asking
go
you,
down.
Have you
I
made
haven't,
that
I haven't.
You haven't.
Yes, okay.
So now, if somebody says, it doesn't matter wherever you go on the earth, if you jump, you're going to come down again. Is that reasonable?
No.
It's not reasonable.
It's not reasonable.
What does science say?
Science says.
Science say?
Yes. What you're misconstruing what science is.
I'm not misconstruing.
You're misconstruing
I'm educating
completely.
you on
No,
science,
you're
scientific
not.
methodology.
Yeah, no, you're not actually. You're misconstruing it because science is based on logical assumptions made from evidence. Evidence is that gravity is a force that pulls us down
What are
to
the
Earth.
foundations of the scientific method again?
Observation,
Observation.
collecting samples, like sampling, and then making conclusions based on said experiment.
Is the very
Experiment.
first fundamental out of all of this is the world is rational or irrational?
The world.
To science to operate,
What is rationality?
do you assume?
What is rationality?
Wait a second. You talked about some of the philosophers. Now let's see whether they can help you. If science did not assume axiomatically that the world is rational, would you be able to understand the world? So science assumes the world is rational.
Science has made so many mistakes.
Yes, but
Doesn't matter.
rationality.
So you accept scientific
You see,
methodology
you're connecting two
is
different things. Here.
rooted in this very foundation that the world is rational, and we as rational human beings are able to understand it rationally.
Yeah.
So don't then say
but my point
you are a
is-
human being using human logic to understand the world because you're being unscientific.
No, okay, but my point was, you completely my point was that, logic, where we derive our understanding of logic is from experience. It's from experience, like day to day, like the different examples that you make.
Not true.
Okay, not true. Fine,
Not
whatever.
true. Let me tell you why it's not true.
Okay, but let me finish. Let me
not
finish
right.
for once. Let me talk.
Go ahead, Alexis.
Let me finish.
Then I'll tell you why.
Okay. Where we understand logic to be a certain thing. We understand it to be whatever it is. We understand it. We as collectively as humans, we come to certain unified definitions about what logic is. But how can we then assume that we use our logic? We use our logic needing for contingency, needing for explanations, needing for this. How can we can zoom out and then do it on our whole world? Because our world, I'm saying we don't know how we don't know how the universe operates. So there is no reason to misconstrue our understandings of logic and place that on the universe, because those two things are not connected.
Was it logical to say there's a cyclical universe or multiverse, or is it based on evidence?
No, it's not. I mean,
What's it based on?
It's based on assumptions.
Assumption is based on what?
Assumption is based on evidence.
What evidence do we have of a multiverse?
No, I mean the multiverse, not specifically. No, I'm not saying there is a
What evidence do you have
multiverse.
there was another universe before this universe?
No, I do scientifically. My grandfather. He's a big
does
scientist.
your grandfather have evidence there was another universe before this one?
Yeah, he does. I mean, he showed, he talked to me. This is his. My theories about the universe. My theories about.
Are you a physicist?
I argue.
Are you a physicist?
No.
Cosmologist?
No.
Do you have a PhD or undergraduate degree in any of those subjects?
No.
Expertise? No. So it's not about your assumption, your theories, they don't count because you're not a specialist.
Okay, do you have a PhD?
Your grandfather is.
Okay.
No, your grandfather is.
Yeah, he is.
Has your grandfather published works that I can read and assess and critically evaluate that there is an evidence for a universe before this
I
universe?
can send you them.
Yeah?
I could type his name in for you if you want.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Let me write it down.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No problem. This is where. Yeah. Type this guy in.
Did he win a Nobel Prize yet?
Oh, he hasn't, sadly. But he's doing great things. He's doing great things. I respect him a lot.
No problem.
Yes. So, I mean, this is what I mean.
I can look it up. So now, coming back to the question of logic.
Yeah.
If logic wasn't used to understand our reality, then science would have been crumbled from the very start.
No, I get that. I understand
so
where you're arguing
we can
from.
use logic.
Yes.
So when it comes to understanding the very beginning of the universe, don't just stop and say we can't use logic. Right?
I agree with that.
So
yeah, I agree. I agree that logic does play a role.
Now let's come back to my example of tea and coffee, right? Shall we? Would it ever make tea and coffee if I just sit there and wait for tea to happen?
No.
Why not?
Because you need to put things into motion.
So to make transformation of existing things,
yes.
like the universe has things within it. You said matter.
Yeah.
So to make transformation, you need some kind of intent of transformation.
You need a mover. I get what you're trying to. Yeah.
Right. So even to make tea and coffee, you need a willing agent.
Yeah. Yes, I completely agree.
So I want to know, on what rational basis do you then, looking at this, understanding it logically and rationally, and accepting it, the universe in its pre-current state, in its eternal state of transformation, it just happened without
I know.
without any
willing mover. Yeah. My response to you is that I don't think that the universe necessarily needs a willing mover.
I don't need necessarily a mover to make a cup of tea.
But you need to do it though, don't
No.
you? Yes, okay.
I'm using the same argument. Be consistent.
Yes, the same argument, but this is two different things.
Thank you. Why is it different? We want to transform something. You either need a willing mover or you don't. So if you can say a cup of tea can happen without a willing mover, then you're being consistent.
No, I know. But this is what I mean.
You have to be consistent.
This is what I mean. Yes. But this is what I mean. Like, we have a willing mover on Earth. On Earth, as you make that tea, you go to the kettle, you boil the water, and then you put the tea bag in, and you've made your tea. You've got your tea there. But what I'm saying is that when we zoom out and when we actually try and think about what began our own universe, I don't think the same laws apply, because I think inherently on Earth, certain things occur the way they do. But I think that's because Earth is special. I think Earth is not. I think Earth is unique in
So
our
I
world.
can't make a cup of tea on Mars.
No, I mean you can like within if you're but
So
not,
if I have the
if
same
you stand
kitchen
on
in
Mars,
Mars, okay,
if you stand on Mars with
no,
nothing.
I want to eliminate these variables. One of the variables you introduce is the Earth. Let's say if I go to Mars and I have a kitchen there,
Yep.
and I sit there, will the tea still happen or a coffee?
You'd probably be dead. Like if you have to use
Look.
you have to use Earth. You have to use
I don't need
Earth-like
Earth.
things.
I don't need
Yes,
Earth.
but you need.
I am going to have a spaceship there.
What do you need?
On Mars.
Spaceship.
landing-
Where did the spaceship come from? Where was it built?
So?
Where was it built? Where it came from Earth, didn't it?
So what?
Yes, but that means you can't just go to Mars. Let's say Mars has got nothing on it. You come with no spacesuit, with nothing that's come from Earth, that's allowed you to live on Mars, and come and make it. Yeah.
You borrowed an alien spaceship.
Okay, fine. But this is you're complicating the thing now. But yes. But I'm saying that when you go to Mars, let's say you go to Mars with nothing. You stand on Mars, you'd already be dead before you make the cup of coffee or the cup of tea.
So you see, look, if you're going to be consistent, you should say that to make a cup of tea in this kind of organizational transformation, you need a willing mover.
Yes.
And you need to be consistent with that. Like gravity, scientists would say, gravity exists in all parts of our Earth, even though we haven't measured everything.
Yeah.
So science, as you haven't realized already, is based on
Exactly.
generalization.
It's based on
from
generalization.
these
I agree.
specifics, right?
And we draw conclusions.
Likewise, when we use the scientific method in understanding the reality, I haven't used anything different from the scientific method.
I know.
I'm saying the universe.
Yes.
Transformation. You need a willing mover. So I have not committed any logical fallacy.
No, I agree.
I'm being consistent.
I agree.
You need to provide a rational
I'm
alternative
saying
if you believe that it can happen by itself.
I'm saying that the need to find out. This is goes back to very much what I'm saying at the beginning. The need to find out. The need, like why do you need? What, like, honest question. Why do you need to believe that something began something?
I don't need to believe in
No,
anything.
but why do you believe that? Why do you believe that? Surely not because you want to make a cup of tea in the morning.
To give
No.
you answer this question, it's not that I need to believe in something.
Yes.
If a tree existed there, independent of my believing it exists or not there, it will exist in reality.
Yeah.
So my belief is irrelevant.
Yes.
But more importantly, he believes it himself.
Yeah? It's irrelevant what I believe it or not.
No, I know.
So if I think, oh, that tree doesn't exist, I may be wrong, I may be right, but independent of my belief system, it can exist if it existed.
Yeah.
Likewise, if there is a reality in which there is a willing mover
Yes,
of
yes.
transformation, it doesn't matter whether I need to believe in it or not.
Yeah. But
The fact of the matter is, we need to affirm that's the case. It's a case of affirmation.
I get that.
Now,
and
is it irrational to affirm that you need a willing mover?
It's not
of
irrational.
transformation?
It's not irrational.
Right. So my stance now, even though I haven't expressed it,
Exactly.
is a rational position. What's your rational position?
My rational position is that you do not need to find that.
We
You don't. No.
took
But
away the
listen.
need.
But no. My thing is that like the universe. There's the idea of a willing mover, the idea of something that's pushing, the idea that something begins somewhere. It comes out of humanity. It comes out of humanity's own attempt to understand itself.
No.
Yes, it does.
Why do you disagree?
So the problem, you made some really strange statements when I was listening to this exchange. Okay? So you seem to do away with logic. You said that there's human logic.
There's
and you
two
can't
facets
use-
of logic.
And you can't use human experience or logic to come up with anything. Then that puts to bed science, the scientific method, even the conversation you're having, even how your vape is working. All of this goes out the window with this.
Yeah. No, I get that.
And
I
now,
get that.
the only argument you seem to be making at the end, because you admitted that for things to happen, there needs to be a willing mover.
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
No. I don't. He said that. I'm saying that my very point.
For the tea to be made in the kitchen, you don't
Yes,
need a willing
but I'm
mover?
saying that you cannot equate the tea in the kitchen to the creation of the universe. Because that is inherently grounded in the human experience. It's not grounded within something that we don't even understand. And to be able to understand that, we would need maybe thousands, maybe hundreds of years of more scientific research.
So not understanding something,
Yes, and I don't want to make conclusions about it. And
not understanding something, you can still rationalize the possibilities
Yes.
of how something could happen.
and this is where religion comes from.
No, hold on a second.
That's where science
So it could either be a material cause or an immaterial one.
Yeah,
Could there be any other cause?
of the universe,
Yes.
either material or immaterial.
Right.
I'd say.
Is there any other?
No, I'd say it was material.
Material.
Yeah.
So if there is a material cause, what is the cause of that material cause? Another material cause?
It's strung up. It's strung up within a web of like different. Yes.
Okay.
But causation, the idea of causation, it's something very different to what, like the way I perceive the universe to have begun. The way I perceive it, we are very lucky.
You can't use your perception.
You said material cause, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Can there be an infinite series of material causes?
Perhaps yes. Perhaps.
Can you traverse?
I can't.
Can you traverse an infinite number of steps to get to this step?
No.
No. So there can't be an
Infinites. The idea of the problem of infinites. Yes, and this is what we came across before. But the idea of it, us not being able to understand infinity.
Hold on a second. An infinite series. That means you can't count them.
No.
They're beyond counting. Can you ever traverse an infinite number of steps to get to this step?
No.
Us talking.
No.
So
But
therefore,
we never know you could do that in the universe.
Hold on a second. So therefore, it can't be an infinite number of steps.
Yes.
It has to be finite. Okay. So when something is finite, it requires a beginning of everything.
Yeah.
Now that beginning of everything,
Exactly.
is it material or immaterial?
The beginning of everything.
Yes.
I'd say it's inherently it has to be material.
Why?
It has to, because our world is consisting of gases, of
Why
chemicals.
does it have to be material?
Because we live here. We live in this
And
world.
is that dependent or independent?
Independent.
Independent.
Yeah. I don't think it's dependent on anything.
So it exists
It exists for the
without any
very.
explanation.
It exists, but we haven't found the explanation yet.
But no. It
That's the
exists
point.
without any explanation of its existence.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you've come to that conclusion how?
Through actually understanding that I can't tell you the beginning of the universe, and I thought about this a lot, because I can't sit here and I thought about it, because it's insane, like we live in a universe filled with intricate planets, stars, galaxies. No. I'm telling. This is how I'm telling you. So we live in this world. It's very much unexplainable to us where it began from. We have this idea of the Big Bang. We have this. It's like to non-scientists, to people that don't specialize in it, it's quite difficult to conceptualize. It's quite difficult to understand. So what my conclusion is that we don't need to understand that. We can make our own. We define reality in our own way. We must. Yeah, that's where I came back to my conclusion.
Why does it have to be material?
Why does it have to be material?
Immaterial.
It has to be because we are physically made out of about the material existence. It means that there's matter.
Yeah, but the explanation for matter does not necessarily necessitate that the underlying cause of everything itself, the beginning of everything, the necessary cause of everything itself has to be material. I'm asking you why you're insisting upon that and not saying that it could be material or immaterial. I'm wondering why you're missing out the possibility of immaterial.
Yeah.
That's why.
No, I get you. Yeah. No,
Because I believe that's not me. Look.
Yeah.
If you said I don't know,
Yeah.
then what you have to argue is that, well, I don't know. It could be immaterial.
It could be.
or it
yes.
could be
This is my
material.
point. This is my
no,
point.
No. But you said it
I
has
said
to be.
yeah. No, I made a mistake there.
Okay.
I made a mistake there
So,
in my.
okay.
But what I do say is that we don't need to know.
Now listen
Yeah.
to what I'm going to say to you now.
Okay.
If it can be immaterial or it is material,
Yeah.
either one of the two, we have to then assert our logic and our reason to see which one seems more reasonable,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Based upon the evidence, right?
Yes. Based upon
Now,
that.
if it's material, what qualities must this material thing possess to bring things into existence?
Knowledge, will,
Power, all of these things, right?
which matter doesn't have apart from its.
I understand this. I understand
So
the
now
argument.
you have to ask the question. No, I'm not trying to corner you.
No.
What I'm trying to do to you, brother, is this. You just think about these things with a level of neutrality, because you've said you don't know. And then what I'm saying
I'm
to
saying
you,
that there's no need to
I
know.
understand, no, but what I'm saying to you also is this. Have an open mind. Okay? When something seems reasonable, at least say, you know what, that sounds quite reasonable.
Yeah.
Now we agree that if it's material, it needs consciousness, immense power, knowledge,
Yeah.
to a level that you or I, we can't even comprehend.
Yes.
Yeah,
We don't know, and we don't need to.
The laws of physics, the
Yes,
DNA.
exactly.
Why do you keep saying we don't need to?
We don't need to because
Why?
that-
Why? Why is the question?
because my whole idea about like religion, like I
That's
personally,
yours, that's
yes,
subjective.
yes,
Before we get to that,
okay.
Desmond,
That's
before
subjective.
we get to that,
I mean,
before we get to that, now you have a material cause
Oh,
with
dear.
consciousness, power,
Yes.
a will.
yes,
to
but where does
create.
that come from, though?
No, hold on a second.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Now, that to me does not look like a non, let's say, conscious, intelligent cause of everything.
Yeah,
It sounds a lot like what religious folk would say to you is the creator.
I know.
So what I'm asking you, brother, is this. Why don't you at least acknowledge that that's a reasonable possibility?
Okay.
And in fact, it seems more reasonable. It's
okay.
than just a material
I
cause
completely-
that existed
I com-
infinitely without anything bringing that existence into existence.
No, my friend, yeah.
And the supernatural cause
Yes,
seems more reasonable.
exactly. I understand
So
this.
you
With
accept
this,
that?
yes, no, I understand that. I completely,
Sorry,
I personally, like, I grew up in a Muslim country, and I was very exposed to,
country was that?
in Dubai.
Oh, Dubai.
Yes. So I spent half my life in Dubai, and all of my good friends are Muslims, and I love Islam as a religion, and I
Why don't you
really.
accept it then?
I love it. I love it.
If
And
you love
my
something,
my
accept
father's an Islamic specialist, and
Your father's an Islamic specialist.
Islamic banking.
Okay.
So, but this is why, and I thought about this idea for a very long time. But the idea, like, it provides comfort. The idea of a creator is comforting. It's comfort, but it is,
But brother, let me ask
and
you-
in the sense, exactly of what you were saying.
Can something true, can something that is the reality and it's true, give you comfort?
But of course it
Yes.
can. Of course
So-
it can.
so-
But that doesn't mean
No, but
what
hold on
you're.
a second. But having comfort from something.
Yes.
And I accept Islam gives me a lot of comfort.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
But that does not falsify Islam.
No, I know it
Because
doesn't.
Islam could be true.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
I could be attaining comfort from something that is
From,
true.
from the truth. Yeah.
So it doesn't rationally mean that just because some people get comfort from religion, therefore God is false or religion is false.
Yes, no, but my grounding of it, my grounding of religion is more historical. This is why I'm not, as educated as you are, gentlemen, on these ideas of, continuously. I've read up about it, but I'm more of, I denounce religion on bounds on history. On purely on history,
Okay,
and where
others
religion.
are
This is
very well
this is
versed
where
in
I can. This is where
It's not your critical, rational thinking about the philosophical.
Yes, it's more so-
basis of
it's
God's existence.
exactly.
It's to do with your
history.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically.
Oh, basically, not just Islam, by the way,
in fact-
all religion.
Fine.
Yeah.
In fact, you're much closer in accepting the truth than many other people. I'll tell you why. Because you have no philosophical objection, rational objection, reasonable, intellectual objection that it could be that there is a creator
this is not,
with all the qualities.
But this is where my
Yeah.
okay.
Because
But
you know
can I say something? But my understanding of course I've watched a few of these videos and I've come across these ideas and come across these ideas of where does religion come from? It comes from our ideas about like we were speaking for the last 40 minutes. But my own objections come from as I'm a history student. So I understand history and I have my own perception of history and religion. My understanding, through history, that's posited. That's what's made me an atheist. My historical research, that's what's made me an atheist. Not about questions about the universe. Because frankly, like when you were questioning about it, I just don't really care about it. I don't really think about it. That's not the grounds on which I denounce religion on. I denounce it on is if you look at religion historically, and if you look at the effect it's had historically, it's clearly served a geopolitical purpose. It's clearly served a purpose that's above religion, and it's very much what I think the greatest sin of Europe, the greatest mistake it's ever committed is elevating Christianity to the position it has now. It's slowed down human progress. It's slowed down Europe's progress, maybe 600, 700 years. The Muslims understood that in the Golden Age, the Golden Age of Islam, right? Following the moving of the capital from Damascus to Baghdad, and creating an absolutely cultural center. They used religion in a way, but they also accepted knowledge. They accepted new thoughts. They accepted debates. They accepted.
That's Islam.
That's Islam, yes. What Christianity didn't do.
We're not Christians.
No. But I'm talking about religion in general.
A question on this, right?
Yeah.
Suppose now, because you have the options, like it's reasonable to believe that there is an intelligent, self-aware, conscious, willing creator of this cosmos as a possibility.
Yeah.
Now suppose there is, and this creator interacted with human beings how to live their life with a purpose. How would it be otherwise from what is now?
But how would it be otherwise?
Yeah.
Like, well, what with the religious?
Because you were saying,
yeah.
because of what I see in history,
Yeah.
it somehow disproves there's a creator. So I want to know, how would it be otherwise?
What do you mean? That? Like, how would the?
Like, suppose there was a creator,
Yeah.
so you would expect the human history to be like what?
If there was a creator, then there would be one religion. Firstly, there would be one religion. There wouldn't
Why?
be the multiplicity
Why
that
would
we
there be
have
one
today.
religion?
Because if there really was a creator, then there would be one cult, one sect that follows.
Let me
them.
just put some spices in there.
Yeah.
So God created us with critical thinking, with our intellect, with the choice to agree or disagree.
Mm-hmm.
So He puts people to agree or disagree, and you're expecting God, without forcing everyone, that all human beings will agree with one thing.
No, but I'm saying that if there was, that humans would come together, and they would
agree on the same thing?
exactly. But that's the very this is the very idea of what religion is.
Look at the data set. So there is a creator who
Yeah.
created human beings with a choice.
Yeah, no, I'm saying
They
okay. If there was a creator,
Yeah.
and let's say there
And
was,
there's a choice
let's say like all of what we're talking about, there was a creator. He created our world. He did this. He did that. Then humans would we wouldn't necessarily see much of a difference.
How would there be one religion? I want to understand.
One religion, because that would be the creator
How
would have willed
everyone-
it. Surely the
how
creator
would-
would have been above humanity.
Firstly, look at my premises. The creator creates human beings with a choice.
Yeah.
That means I can agree and you can disagree.
Yes, yes,
right?
of
That's what
course.
it means.
Yes.
Different kind of wills.
Yes.
Given
There
that,
would be atheists in the
given
world.
that faculty, how are you postulating
Yes,
this,
no, I get that. I get
there will
that.
be one religion?
No, if that's how you're defining how God creates the world, then that's but let me tell you why really what my thoughts are, why I don't.
But do you
agree.
understand now?
Yes, I do. I completely agree.
Your study of history
Yeah.
is based on perhaps a false premise in which human beings are forced to agree on everything.
They're not forced. This is my point. They're not forced. What it has done is religion has become politics. Listen.
Just
religion.
one moment.
Okay.
If human beings have this choice involved,
Yeah.
how is it possible all of them can agree? None of the Greek philosophers
They're
agreed on the same
forced.
thing.
They're forced.
Forced.
Like Christianity. If you look at what
Forced by
Christianity is, by the church. Okay.
Islam.
Islam.
Christianity.
No. I'm
and
talking
your
about religion in
experience
general.
on these.
Religion in
Can I
general.
ask you-
Okay,
can I
Islam
ask
as
you-
well.
Can I ask you
Okay.
a question? Can some teaching, forget religion, I'm talking about good teaching,
Yeah.
be deliberately misconstrued, misinterpreted, and corrupted by human beings?
Yeah.
Does that mean the teaching is wrong?
No. But that's not the argument. My argument. No.
You said one religion.
What is your argument?
So that's
My
not
argument.
how the
No.
religion is changed.
I'm trying to explain to you.
I understand. Yeah.
When you make a premise, think it through.
I know. I get it.
It's got to be logical.
Yes.
So, for example, Islam could be true, but if I don't follow Islam, even though I claim that I'm following Islam and I do bad things,
Yeah.
does that make Islam false or does that make me a bad person?
It depends on what wrong and right.
If I'm not following Islam and
Yeah.
I do bad things,
Yeah.
does that make Islam false or me a bad person?
It makes you a bad person.
So this is
Exactly.
This is logic.
That's logic. Yes.
Look, all we're saying to you, brother, is this: you've already agreed that there is a reasonable possibility of there being a creator. Mansur has just basically said to you, how would you know if this creator has ordained for you guidance, given guidance to you?
Yeah.
I would say what's rational is that who are making this claim?
Yeah.
And then they're saying that, the Bible is from God, they're saying the Torah is from God, the Hindu scriptures are from God, the Islamic scripture, the Quran is from God. Allah has given you a faculty to reason,
Yes.
to investigate. So use that reason and investigate.
Yes. And this is my.
And then, just as the brother here, myself, often being born in this country, have researched Islam, researched the Quran to verify for ourselves. Does the weight of evidence give us a compelling, heavy weighted argument for its divine cause, divine origin, or is it, as you say, just something that people thought up?
Yeah, no, but they did.
But the point here is this.
And with very good reason, my friend.
What have you investigated about the Quran?
The Quran? Because the Quran...
Because you've nullified it by saying that. What have you investigated?
No, I'll tell you exactly. That the Quran itself, it came out of... You know, if you look at where Islam started, you know, you look at Medina, you look at Mecca.
Have you studied about the Quran?
I'm telling you. So Medina and Mecca, right? They were without Islam, without this unifier, without this idea of an entity that's above these tribes, you know, these herdsmen that were completely incoherent. What did Muhammad come? Muhammad came and he, peace be upon him, of course. Like he came and he unified the people because he gave exactly your reason. Because no, listen. I know. I'm telling you.
So that's one of his motives. We can examine
what
that.
motives? Yes. Is that when it gave people a reason to live, a reason above and beyond themselves, above and beyond their a reason to live. Yes. These things and it unified the people.
Question I asked you.
I know.
I asked you.
Motives.
You can go through the motives, but I asked you because you nullified the Quran.
Yeah.
By claiming some historical things.
Yeah.
I'm asking you critically, how did you nullify the Quran itself? By studying it, it makes lots of claims.
Yes.
Had this book come from anyone other than your Lord, surely you would have found within it many contradictions or errors. Have you found any contradictions or errors in the Quran?
No.
Have you studied the Quran?
I haven't studied it properly, but I've read through.
What I would humbly suggest to you. I would humbly suggest to you. It claims to be from the Creator, and it gives you a criteria, a falsification test of how it might not be from the Creator. At least apply that test. At least do that investigation. Then if you want to nullify it based upon evidence, say these are the reasons I have studied, and therefore I nullified the Quran. Then we can have that discussion.
I agree with that, but it's just...
What I would urge you to do is don't look at peripheral issues, attributing your own interpretation of why they might have happened, and then nullifying the Quran. That's not sensible.
No, but I didn't...
Do you agree?
Yes, I agree.
Okay.
I agree, but I'm just telling you my interpretation of why
I'd like Dr. Imran to say something. I've been saying too much.
No, this is my interpretation of why I think, no, they're not just Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Because they are they've come up, and, you know, like Christianity and Islam, they have their similarities, you know. They have in the way that they've developed as entities. Because just as with Islam, you know, it brought this mass of people together under a very good cause, under a very powerful cause, and intellectually.
If Islam was true, or is true, would you expect that cause that you've just discussed, a unifying cause, a cause of bringing everybody together?
It would be true as well.
Right?
It would be true as well.
Now we have a massive issue there.
So now the issue here is...
Yes, I know. This is
Islam
what
is
you're
true,
arguing against,
that's what would
you're
happen.
arguing for at the same time.
No.
Because if Islam was true,
yes.
you would not expect it to disunite
this is
the
a big
people.
if, though.
No, but the point I'm trying to make. But the point I'm trying to make to you is you're using an evidence of what happened to the people against Islam, and I'm trying to explain to you logically.
It could be used,
that
yes.
If Islam was true, that is exactly what you would expect to happen.
But my assumption is that by inherently studying that, it actually posits the opposite.
No, how can it do that? But
It posits the opposite.
You just agreed to me that if Islam was true.
No, I know, but that's a big assumption that you've made there. If it's true.
No, but you're giving a logical reasoning as a premise and a conclusion. You're saying because it unified everybody together, therefore Islam is false.
No, not just because of that. Not just because of that. Because of many reasons. Because it gave purpose. Because it gave this. Because of this.
But if the religion is true, that's what you would expect to happen.
Of course. Of course it's true. Yes, of course.
That concept can't validate or disprove Islam.
But within my understanding of how, you know,
I think the question is... We can ask Dr. Imran on this question. Because you are looking at the historical milieu and you're thinking, this is a development, a cultural development.
Yes.
And it's been somehow religionized. Okay,
it's been politicized.
Yes.
Politicized.
Now, so because of this kind of approach in history, you have to identify motives, which you are doing.
Yeah.
We can examine those motives and see whether they're actually valid or not,
I agree.
justifiable or not.
I agree.
So, the motives we've had so far is unification of the people.
Yep.
And when we talk about people, we're talking about the Arabs,
Yep.
we're talking about the Jews, and we're talking about the Christians.
Other Christians,
the
yeah.
polytheists, Jews, and the Christians, and people may not have some beliefs and so on. Some of them may be inclined to monotheism, whatever. These are the broad four categories of people.
Yeah.
There might be other Sabians, flower worshippers, and so on, right? And we heard about something else you said. What was the second thing? This is one is unification.
Pull people together, give them meaning, purpose.
Meaning, purpose, yeah.
Giving them a purpose.
Yeah.
Let's deal with unification.
Okay.
How does that tally with the teaching of the Quran, when it talks about different tribes, Christian Jews, and so on? Does it really give us a true picture of this is how it's uniting, or is it actually doing the opposite?
So you'd expect a religion, if it were true, to unite the people.
Yeah.
You'd expect a religion, if it were true, to give people purpose. So the observations that you're making, that you're then using to say the religion isn't true,
I understand.
are the same
No.
observations that you
I understand that.
use
What
to
I
say-
understand the reasons. Yeah.
So you understand why the brothers are saying that your objections don't
Exactly.
make rational sense.
I was going
agree.
to talk about rather the motives. So let me hint to them. And for example, if I was to unite the Arabs, right? Imagine now I want to unite the Arabs.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start praising them and what they hold the most dear to them.
Absolutely.
So they hold the dearest to them is idolatry, praising the idols. So to unite them, what I need to do is not to curse their idols, to destroy their idols and saying they're not worthy of worship. I should say, wow, this idol is so great and that's so great. Imagine I'm praising your idol and your idol. So you're with me now. You're with me now. So I'm uniting all of them. So instead of doing that, what Prophet Muhammad did, he says, none of them are worthy of worship. So he is disuniting the Arabs. In fact, this is what happened. His whole community was abandoning him. His whole family is abandoning him. So we don't see, even from his own community, Arabs, they're being united. What about how he talked about the Jewish people? He talked about how Maryam, for example, Allah chose as the best of all the women. Imagine telling that to an Arab. Oh, that Jewish woman, she's the most pious, best of all the women. Elevated above all the women of the world. How is that going to unite the Arabs? It's not.
Or the nobility.
Yeah. Now let's talk about how it's uniting the Christians. It says Christ wasn't crucified. Christ is not God. He's not Son of God. In fact, when you say he's the Son of God, the universe is about to shatter and destroy itself. The earth is about to split. Okay. So
Don't say three.
Don't say three. How is it uniting the Christians by destroying their core belief and disagreeing with their core belief? It's not uniting the Christians either. Jewish people, if you think about it, how the Quran criticized the Jewish people and what they did. So when we look at the motive question, this is not. So
you don't think Islam was a very good unifier?
No. What I'm saying is, if you put the motive as unification of people, the Quran shows otherwise. It's not unifying as you expect.
Yes.
That means that wasn't the motive. The motive is establishing the truth.
Okay.
Because the truth may be against
but
their
one needs
interests.
to look at the evidence, though, the empirical evidence for it. And what did it do, Islam? Okay, first, as you mentioned, Muhammad was
They united because of the truth.
Empirical evidence.
Not because of
empirical evidence of what happened.
That's not empirical evidence, is it?
Empirical. Of events that happened.
Empiricism is absolute, right?
Yes, it's exactly what happened.
Absolute evidence are you going to provide?
Of that it unified the people and quite literally destroyed two empires.
Unification didn't happen because of this. Unification happened because they recognized the truth.
Okay.
Yeah?
That's
This
a
is one
different
caveat.
interpretation.
No, logically you've already accepted.
That is something when you study the history, you'll realize actually it didn't unite the people in their tribal unification, it disunited them. So what united them is they abandoned this relationship between brother and sister, even though they're lineage, and they united with someone else of a faith because they accepted that this was true. This didn't work. So it's not a motive of, you see, we are historically analyzing a motive of a fake individual claims to be from God. What about purpose? What was his purpose? Was he a moral reformer? Was he trying to reform the society? Maybe.
I agree.
That could be. But look at the way he's reforming. If he's reforming morality, why is he talking about, look at the universe, how the universe is expanding?
Because gives reason, that in itself is a unifier. Because how
That's
else do
not
you
a moral-
understand? No, because
That's
because
not a moral reformation.
Yes.
I think you know what it is, Mansur?
it's
The point that Imran just made as well to you is that you're already in agreement that something being true, you would also.
No, it's a very good point you made,
You would
yeah.
also expect it to unify the people.
Yeah.
So that point doesn't apply now. So what's your other point?
My point is that if you look at Islam, if you look at Christianity, if you look at the Jews, these beliefs, these ideas, they did not come out of a vacuum. They came out of being many years under persecution from two empires that were themselves ideologically founded on, it was the Byzantines, which was Christianity, and it was the Sassanids in Iran, which had their own Zarathustrian religion, which was founded upon, which is idolatry, which is what Muhammad hates.
Can somebody who's on the right path?
But what is the alternative?
Can somebody who's on the right path suffer great persecution?
Yeah.
So that doesn't
That's
apply
not an
either.
argument either.
So what's your other argument?
No. That's not connected. I'm saying what the argument was that Islam did not grow out of a vacuum. It grew out of being oppressed, being a nation, being a part of the
Were
world.
the Arabs oppressed when Islam came to them?
They were inherently, by both forces, they were in between.
Byzantines and the Persians were not in control of Arabia.
No, but Muhammad came and conquered their own territory. He destroyed their own.
Talking about that after.
Talking about
talking
20
about
years
events
Yes, this is my point. This is my point where empirical
I don't
evidence
think
is
you're
used.
making any points.
No.
Honestly.
You
But
understand the
listen,
problem?
I do.
What you've done is you've taken something afterwards that the Muslims conquered the Romans and they conquered the
Yeah, I know. It's prior
So
to.
you're saying that event proves that why the religion started, but you're talking about something that
20
was
years plus after.
Yes, I know.
23 years later than from the start.
From the start, exactly.
So you-
but
what you
it
need to
started.
explain
It
is
started.
the
But
start.
I'm saying that I believe Muhammad was a great warrior, and he was a great strategist, and I believe that he wanted to use
Where
Islam
does history say that?
because he won so many battles.
He won battles after
Yes,
Islam.
yes, after Islam,
No,
but
but
he
so-
used Islam to win those battles.
Where did he get Islam from? Because he
So until the age of 40, the Prophet peace be upon him wasn't.
No, I know.
So
where did
you
he
need to
get that
explain
from?
the start.
When does he become a great strategist when it comes to war, to defeat the Persians and the Byzantines?
Yeah.
Where did he get all his strategies from?
Who was his teacher? Teachers.
Who Muhammad's teacher? I don't.
In terms of law, ethics, morality, science, in terms of every aspect of life that
We
the
don't
Quran
know
touches
that,
upon.
Strategies of war.
We don't know that.
No, we now have a big problem. We need to understand where did he get this information from. So when the Quran says, وَالسَّمَاءِ وَالطَّارِقِ, it's like knocking stars, piercing bright knocking stars. Now, he didn't have to talk about it because he didn't have the telescopes to know about them. But now we know there are stars which are pulsating stars, right? And they make these kind of sounds.
Yep.
How did he know that? Neither the Greeks, or the Romans, or the Indian Hindus, civilization, Chinese, no one knew them. How is he firstly talking about things which no one talked about, and no one could have talked about, and yet now we realize that this information is actually quite interesting.
No,
because
but that is a facet. That's a facet of Islam that I don't necessarily like. I have, like I said, I don't criticize Islam on that level. I criticize it more so.
Where did you get that information from? It's a
That's
rational
good.
question.
I know it's a rational question.
So if
And
you
I
now-
can't tell you. I can't tell
Good,
you that.
No problem. So suppose now we give you example after example after example. You realize you need a submarine, you need an electronic microscope, you need a telescope, you need a spaceship. All of these technological tools that are of modern
What
day.
I would say-
you need it. You'd still say.
No.
it's
What
not a
I would
different God.
say is that there was a lot that before Islam, before anything. When the Greeks were here, there was the beautiful Library of Alexandria, the great Library of Alexandria, and it was birds. No. Listen. I'm connecting things. I do think that there was that
which
knowledge
Library
existed.
of Alexandria, and when was it burnt? Are you talking about post-Islamic? history?
Pre-Islamic, way before 200 BC.
And
It was
who-
burnt.
Okay.
It was burnt, and what I'm saying is that knowledge that there was actually now as historians we can understand that what they were talking about and what they was actually far advanced than even what they were discussing in the Middle Ages. So your idea about where did it come from, where is that it could be the knowledge could have been there, but we just that knowledge was burnt down.
So you're saying that the Prophet Muhammad, if you call him, had access to the burnt writings?
No. My point is that knowledge could have been within that world. We simply, from our perspective, we don't know whether it was there because we can't ascertain.
That knowledge from if you require telescopes and submarines and.
No. But I'm sure that there was that knowledge.
Knowledge from submarines.
No, okay, I don't know what this point about submarines is. Like,
Interoceanic waves. You need to go deep down the oceans with a submarine to observe that. We have to
Wait,
go
it's about sonar.
We have to, or
What
sonar
is
technology. They had sonar technology.
What, you're saying they had sonar then?
No, I'm saying. Are you saying they had sonar?
No.
Are you saying they had satellites that we can observe the interoceanic currents?
They had telescopes. The Greeks had telescopes. The Greeks,
telescopes, you won't be able to
this is
see-
the point. This is the point. With my point about
With
the
a
Great
telescope-
Library of Alexandria.
With the telescope,
That there's a
did
lot
they
of
observe
knowledge.
the universe expanding?
No.
They believed otherwise. They believed the universe is static. But the
Yes.
Quran says God created the universe with his own hands and he's the one, the expander thereof. Meaning he's constantly expanding it.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
you don't expect that knowledge to have been there, present there with the technological tools they had, right?
No, but I do think it could have been there, but we just don't know about it now.